Okay, can everyone hear me? Alright, I think you all can hear me just fine. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, sorry, taking a sip of water. Anyway, hello everybody, and welcome to, well, another live stream. You'd probably guessed by reading the title that, yes, I did write an Ace Attorney Danganronpa fanfic. I was, but I stopped. Hello, Terza Rose. And I'm going to tell you why I stopped this fanfic in just a second. Hello, Megasog Plays. Well, you see, I know I said that I wasn't going to be doing this. I wasn't going to make an Ace Attorney Danganronpa crossover fanfic. This was a topic that came up in one of my previous live streams, and it was up to you guys whether you wanted me to do it or not, because I was kind of on the fence about it. And ultimately I decided not to do it. But being stuck in my house with nothing to do because of the quarantine, you'd be surprised what boredom can make you do, you know? So yes, I started writing this fanfic, and I started watching Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc because of it. And I just finished watching the game today. And, whoo boy, was it crazy. Definitely more grimdark than Ace Attorney, I'll tell you that, but thing is, I was writing this story while I was watching Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. And because of the ending that happened, and what I found on the Wikipedia about the game, I just decided to stop writing this. And I was so close to finishing it too. I was on the final chapter. It was right after the climax. So, yeah, ultimately I just decided to stop because what I was planning on doing with it just didn't really add up to what exactly happened in the Danganronpa games universe and what happens in the Ace Attorney universe. So, yes, I decided to stop it because it just didn't make sense. Combining the two universes like that would just, make it all, not make sense and stuff. So, yeah, that's why I decided to stop it. Monokuma's so evil and so entertaining. Yeah, I know. He was crazy. Indeed. Really quirky and pretty much unexpected. But, yes. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to start reading the fanfic. I also have some music that I'm going to be playing in certain parts of the story to make it interesting. Because, yeah, I was planning on making an actual video about this when I was actually finished reading with it. Or finished writing it, not reading with it. I can't talk. But, yeah, and what I planned to do was, it was going to be, sort of a visual novel. Well, not exactly a traditional visual novel, but, a story with pictures that go along with the story. And I was planning on asking you guys and the people on my DeviantArt to help me with those pictures. I even went so far as to include 3 of my very loyal subscribers into the story. And yeah. So yeah, let's get on with it. But first, fair warning. This game does have spoilers for Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, Danganronpa 1 Trigger Happy Havoc, and it's also a little grimdark. I mean, it does revolve around someone getting killed, so if you're sensitive to that, then what are you still doing here? Anyway, yes. Let's get this started. And here we go. Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, Turnabout for Despair. Chapter 1. Welcome to Hope's Peak Academy. Apollo looked down at the invitation and read it over one more time. You're invited to come and speak as an expert of your profession at a career seminar at Hope's Peak Academy. We have scoured the country for professionals who are masters at what they do and are at the top of their game, and we chose you, Apollo Justice, and Trucy Wright, to come and speak as a professional defense attorney and a professional magician on your behalf. The seminar will take place in the music room/auditorium of Hope's Peak Academy at 10 o'clock a.m. on Monday, March 14th, 2011. Hope to see you there. Sincerely, Monokuma, headmaster of Hope's Peak Academy. When he was finished reading, he looked up at the building behind the gates. It was a massive skyscraper, far taller than any of the other buildings in the city, he noted. This school was funded by Japan's government itself. It was a prestigious school where only the top high school students got in, and they say that if you graduate from here, you'd be guaranteed for success. Apollo then began to wonder what it would have been like for him if he had gone to the school in his teens. It didn't really matter. After all, he had a good job, a great mentor, and got paid pretty handsomely for every case he accepted. He didn't need any fancy private school to get him to where he was today. Apollo, came a voice from next to him. He looked over and saw that Trucy was staring at him. You've been spacing out for a while. It's almost time. We should head inside. He then realized that he had been standing at the gates for a while. He checked the time on his cell phone. 9:30 a.m. Yeah, we should probably head inside, he said. He adjusted the collar on his white t-shirt and opened the gates and walked towards the school's main entrance. He tried to open the door but found it locked. He looked on the wall and saw an intercom. He pressed the button. Hey, hello? It's me, Apollo Justice. I also have Trucy Wright here. We got your invitation for your seminar? He said through the speaker. Just then, a robotic voice came through the speaker. Oh yes, Apollo Justice and Trucy Wright. Welcome, but first, please put your wrist inside the tube. Just then, a tube extended out from the wall, with a hole for them to put their wrists inside. Apollo shrugged and put his right hand inside the tube. After a moment, he felt something clamp down on his wrist. It wasn't painful, but the shock caused him to jump. Once his wrist was unclamped, he yanked it out of the tube, only to find a strange-looking band on it. It was almost like a watch, but gray with green wires running along the band. He inspected it curiously. What is that? Asked Trucy. This is a clearance bracelet, the robotic voice chirped. For identification purposes. You cannot enter the building without one. Okay, Trucy said apprehensively and put her own hand inside the tube. The same happened with her, and now she and Apollo had matching bracelets. You may now enter, came the voice. Just then the doors to the school slowly swung open. Without any further delay, the two of them stepped inside. Upon entering, they were in awe at how pristine the main hall was. Everything looked so polished, like it had just been waxed. Apollo scanned the room, taking in every detail. But then, he noticed something. Or rather, someone. A man with blonde hair, wearing a black tank top and jeans. Apollo walked over to him. And when he got close enough, he tried to call out his name, but Trucy beat him to it. Mr. Gavin! She called out. The man stiffened and turned, and a smile spread across his face. Ah, if it isn't Trucy and Apollo! Fancy seeing the two of you here, said Mr. Gavin. I wasn't expecting to see you here either, Clavier. So, I'm guessing you got invited to the seminar too? Asked Clavier. Yeah, and can I say that this school looks so cool? Apollo extended his arm out. I mean, my college didn't even look this polished. Clavier laughed. I know. This is Japan's most exclusive high school. Also, those bracelets. I see you got them too. Apollo looked down at the bracelet. Yeah. And you? Clavier held out his right wrist to show that he indeed had the same bracelet. Yeah. I don't know about you, but these bracelets seem pretty suspicious. How so? Asked Trucy. Well, he started, but he was then cut off by a voice from behind him. Excuse me, but who are you talking to? Clavier turned and Apollo and Trucy looked over to see a boy with green hair and green eyes looking at the two of them. He wore a tiger print t-shirt and sweatpants along with black sneakers. He looked to be no older than Trucy. Sorry, Max, Clavier said to the boy. These are my friends. This little Fraulein here is Trucy Wright, and the boy with the big forehead over here is Apollo Justice. Hi, Max, Trucy replied. Hi, I'm Max Miller, said the boy. It's very nice to meet you both. We were just talking about how he's going to become a student here in the fall, Clavier said. Apollo's eyes lit up. Really? He asked. Yeah, said Max. I'm at the top of my class. Oh, really? What do you do? Asked Trucy. Color pictures, Max said joyously. Sorry. Wait, what? Apollo asked, confused. He colors pictures, said Clavier. His classmates sketch out pictures, and he colors them in with paint. They call me the Van Gogh of the 21st century, Max piped up. Well, as long as he's the best at it, I guess he's qualified to come here, Apollo thought. He glanced at Max's wrist, and saw that he had the same bracelet as him, Clavier, and Trucy. You got one of those bracelets too, huh? Apollo asked. Yeah, Max said as he looked down at his wrist. They said it was for identification, but Mr. Gavin here said that they were kind of suspicious. Yeah, you were about to tell us earlier, Trucy said. What exactly is so suspicious about them? Well, for starters, Clavier began, they don't look like the kind of wristband you'd get at a carnival, and I can't seem to get it off. Apollo then tried to pull off his own bracelet, but to no avail. Yeah, I can't get mine off either, Apollo said. Me neither, said Trucy. Maybe some sort of special staff member has to come in and take them off, asked Max. Maybe, said Clavier. But hey, maybe I'm reading too far into this. It's probably nothing serious. This is a career seminar and we came to rock! He then started air guitaring. Didn't your band break up? Apollo thought. Hold on, gotta take a sip of water. Get out of here, Windows Defender Security. Just then, there was another voice from behind them. Hey, do you know where the auditorium is? All heads turned to see two girls, one with brown hair and well, I mean, this part right here, I don't really have clear, descriptions of what their characters look like, so I just left them blank. And they shall be forever blank, because I'm never gonna finish the story. In just a second. Okay, let's continue. But like everyone else, they were also wearing bracelets. Sorry, we just got here. Just like you, Apollo said. Oh, where are my manners? The brown-haired girl exclaimed. I'm Pepper, and this is Allison. Hi, said Allison. Oh, well, I'm Apollo Justice, said Apollo. Clavier Gavin. He went to shake hands with the two girls. And I am Trucy Wright, said Trucy with a swish of her cape. Right? Pepper asked. Are you in any way related to the legendary Phoenix Wright? Oh, you know my daddy? He's your dad?" "Well, no, not really. It's a long story." Why is he so surprised? Apollo thought. "So, are we all here for the seminar?" Allison asked. "Yeah, it looks like me, Clavier, and Trucy are going to be speaking," Apollo said. "And I take it that you are incoming students?" "Yeah, we're both at the top of our classes for best artists," Pepper exclaimed. "More artists, huh?" Apollo thought. "Anyway, shall we make our way to the auditorium?" asked Clavier. "There should be a school map around here somewhere." Just then, Apollo began to feel dizzy, and he swore he saw the walls melting away. "What's happening?" Trucy said weakly. Apollo could barely make out a voice, and the next thing he knew, his entire world went black. Apollo moaned. He was still feeling rather dizzy. He opened his eyes. There wasn't that bright of a light, but it still made his eyes sting. He closed them again, sat up, stretching and yawning as he did so. He rubbed his eyes, then attempted to open them again. He blinked several times, then took in his surroundings. He was sitting at a school desk in a classroom. It reminded him of when he went to school. The only light from the room was coming from the fluorescent lights in the ceiling. He looked towards the windows, only to find them bolted shut. That made him feel uneasy. But what almost set him on the verge of panic mode was the fact that he didn't remember how he got here. He closed his eyes and tried to remember. He was in the main hall with everyone. Then he was dizzy. The next thing he knew, he was here. He then remembered. The seminar. From the looks of it, he was still in the school, so maybe he could still make it to the auditorium. He checked his phone. 9:52. He could still make it in time. He went to the door leading to the hallway and tried the doorknob. It wasn't locked, considering the windows were bolted. He stepped out into the hallway. When he got into the hallway, he found the school not to be the prim and proper school he saw before. Actually, it was. Just the lighting made it look so much dimmer. He looked to the wall and saw a map of the school pinned to a corkboard. He found out that he was on the 2nd floor, and that the auditorium was on the 4th floor. If he hurried, he could still make it. He drew out his route on the map with his finger, then set off. He barely made it before the clock struck 10. Inside the auditorium, he found everyone else there. All heads turned to look at him. "Am I late?" Apollo said between gasps for air. "No, you're right on time," Allison said. "It's just about to start," Trucy stated. "Ugh, sorry. I'm a little congested." "No?" "Oh, whoops. Skipped Clavier." "Well, it looks like we're all here," Clavier said. "No," Pepper said. "Where's Max?" She looked around. Everyone else looked around too, but Max was nowhere to be found. Warning, a grotesque scene is coming up. Just letting you know that. Just in case. Just for your convenience." "That's strange. Where do you think he is?" Apollo asked. "Maybe he's still somewhere in the school?" Allison asked. "What do you mean?" asked Apollo. "We were talking about this before you got here," Clavier stated. "We all passed out in the main hall, then woke up in different locations throughout the school. We used maps of the school's layout to get here. First the bracelets, now this. Maybe there is something to be suspicious about after all." Yes, this all was very suspicious. Apollo was about to bring up the bolted windows in the classroom when all the lights in the gym went out. This stunned them all into silence. It was so quiet that they could hear the curtains opening on the stage. Just then, a TV monitor that was mounted on the wall erupted into static for a minute. Then it revealed an image of someone testing the recording equipment on the other end, but the image was still too blurred by static to make out any features of the other person. "Oh no, please don't let him be dead." Hate to disappoint, but there is a big plot twist in the story that's gonna blow your mind. So it won't matter if he's dead or not. I'm just saying that right now. Alright, here we go. Testing! Testing! 1, 2, 3. Can y'all hear me? Came the slightly high-pitched and chipper voice from the monitor. Yeah, but we can't see you, said Pepper. Oh, sorry about that, said the voice, and the person leaned over to adjust something on the recording device he was using. With that, the image on the screen became clearer and everyone could see the person fine now. But it wasn't a person at all. It was a small black and white bear with one red eye. Is that better? Came the bear. A teddy bear? Asked Clavier. I am not a teddy bear, exclaimed the bear. I am Monokuma! Wait, you're Monokuma? Asked Apollo, remembering the invitation. Yes, I'm the school's headmaster, Monokuma said. And I have invited you all here for something I bet you will get a kick out of. I thought this was a seminar, asked Allison. Far from it, my dear, Monokuma chirped. This is all but a mere test. Test? What do you mean by test? You see, Clavier Gavin, Monokuma started, you and Apollo are attorneys, are you not? Which means that you're great at solving cases, and this school only accepts the best of the best. But that begs the question, how good are you at solving cases under pressure? Why don't we give that a whirl, shall we? He reaches down and picks up a remote control and presses a button. Just then the spotlights on the stage went on to reveal a gruesome scene. It was Max on the stage, covered in blood, not moving. Max! Pepper shrieked. Everyone ran over to the stage. Your task is to find out who the murderer is, Monokuma said. By tomorrow, we will hold a trial to find out who did it. You monster! Yelled Clavier. Once we get out of here, we're headed right to the police! Think again, Clavy! Monokuma chirped. You really think I hadn't planned for this? All the exits and windows are sealed. If you ever want to see the light of day again, I suggest you play along. And don't even think about calling them either. All cell phone reception has been cut. Damn it! Clavier cursed. And what if we don't want to play along? Apollo exclaimed. I thought you would rebel, Monokuma said, pressing his paws together. That's why I took extra precautions. He took the remote again and pressed another button. Just then there was a beeping sound and Apollo looked down at the bracelet. The area that looked like the clock portion of her watch was flashing red. He looked around at the others, and they were looking at their bracelets too, which were also flashing red. What is this? Trucy asked. These bracelets are very special, Monokuma explained, because they have a very special feature. He adjusted the camera to the right to reveal a mannequin with the same bracelet. If you were to disobey, then... Monokuma pressed a button. The bracelet on the mannequin started to beep. The beeping got faster. Until... Boom! There was an explosion on the TV, and when the smoke cleared, the mannequin was missing its right arm. Everyone let out an audible gasp. You see, that's why it's so important to follow directions, Monokuma said happily, as if nothing happened. Now, let me just say that the explosion isn't enough to kill you, but it can very well obliterate your arm, and it's the blood loss that will kill you. So play along, and you will all be A-OK. And the good news is that if you manage to solve this case, I will grant you your freedom. You have 2 hours to investigate. Then it's time for the trial. So be sure to investigate everything. All right, I'll leave you to it. Happy evidence hunting. Hope it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, or rather, just an arm. And with that, the TV shut off. Apollo's head was still reeling from what he just heard. Trucy and the other girls started screaming. The bracelet was a death trap. This whole thing was a death trap. And to make matters worse, his life, as well as everyone else's, was in the hands of the psychotic bear. Max, the child that he had spoken to not even 40 minutes ago, was dead. And he was supposed to find out who did it. If he didn't, then... He started to hyperventilate. He couldn't handle this. He had never dealt with a homicide case where the victim was someone so young. Could he even pull through with this? Apollo! Clavier's voice snapped Apollo out of his trance. The best thing we can do now is try and stay calm and figure out our next plan of attack. He turned to everyone. The worst thing we can do right now is panic. He was right. He would have plenty of time to panic later. But right now, they all had to figure out what to do next. So, We're supposed to find out who did it? Pepper asked.
The question is, who did it? And why? Apollo stated.
No. The better question is, Allison started. Which one of us did it? It then hit Apollo like a stack of bricks. There was no one else in the school. It was only him, Clavier, Trucy, Pepper, and Allison. That made them all the prime suspects. It could have only been one of them. Everyone turned to look at each other, fear written in their eyes. Apollo then realized that this was Monokuma's game. How did he expect them to work together without suspecting each other? He could already feel the tension rising. With Allison's statement, everyone was suspecting each other already. The whole point of this was to cast doubt on everyone and tear them apart. He then realized that this wasn't a school of hope. It was a school of despair. Chapter 2. Investigation and Anxiety. 5 pairs of eyes scanned the room, neither one wanting to speak up. Silence hung in the air for a long time, until...
Hey, what's with the silence? Clavier finally spoke. It's like an empty concert hall in here. Gee, you're pretty calm for someone who just saw a dead body, Apollo retorted, and thrust it into a game of death. Quiet there, forehead. Clavier held up a finger. Statements like that are going to get us nowhere in an investigation.
Investigation? Pepper asked.
Yes, Clavier answered. Our psycho teddy bear said that we need to investigate and gather evidence for a trial, no? And standing here looking at each other is only going to get us nowhere.
He had a point. The clock was ticking, and the trial was in 2 hours. They needed to get all the evidence they could out of this.
But I doubt this is going to be a normal trial, Clavier. Apollo spoke up. We're all suspects. The murderer could be any one of us.
That's right, exclaimed Trucy. It's only us here. She looks at Apollo.
Wait, Trucy, you don't seriously think that I did it, do you? Apollo asked. Trucy was silent. Hey, let's not blame each other, Clavier said. After all, we don't have definitive evidence yet. So why don't we start with our alibis, shall we?
And just like that, everyone seemed to calm down.
Now, we were all in the main hall at around 9:30, no? Clavier asked, touching his chin with his finger in thought.
Yeah. Then we passed out and woke up at different locations throughout the school, Pepper remarked. And when I woke up, it was 9:52. Oh, shoot! Wrong person.
And when I woke up, it was 9:52, Apollo added, which was why I had to make a mad dash to get here. So there is an amount of time that has not been accounted for, Clavier said.
What? Are you suggesting that one of us murdered him in that time? Allison asked, almost accusingly.
Possibly, Clavier answered. But we can't say for certain if we just talk about it. We need evidence, and I say that we look for it. Right. In a trial, evidence is everything, Apollo agreed. How about this? Clavier suggested. Me and our forehead over here will stay here and investigate the body. You Frauleins can go and investigate the school. I don't know about you, but I saw some surveillance cameras set up while I was making my walk here. He gestured to the side of the stage, and sure enough there was a security camera there.
Oh, so like maybe the murder was caught on camera, Trucy exclaimed.
You're smart, Trucy, Clavier said. I always liked that about you. Trucy blushed. Okay, so it's settled, Apollo said. We'll check out the body, and you girls can go find a surveillance room or something.
Got it, Pepper gave a thumbs up. Are you going to be okay, Apollo? Trucy asked.
I'll be fine. But are you going to be okay? He said.
I should hope so, Trucy answered. Well, good luck.
And with that, the girls left the auditorium. Sorry, expect a lot of this.
Once they were gone, Apollo and Clavier made their way onto the stage. They knelt down beside Max.
We need to find out what caused him to bleed so much, Clavier said. From the looks of it, it was a stab to the chest or abdomen. But we'll never know unless we check.
Apollo looked at the body.
Do I have to?
Apollo asked. Clavier cocked an eyebrow.
Okay, fine.
He put a hand on Max's arm and rolled him over onto his back. His shirt was caked in blood. Apollo took his left hand and used his index finger and his thumb and lifted up Max's shirt. Sure enough, there was a cut there, leaking more blood.
See? Never hurts to check,
Clavier said.
But that's odd.
What? Asked Apollo.
You'd think there'd be a murder weapon here. Something that made a cut that deep. But there's nothing. Maybe he wasn't killed here, but somewhere else and taken here? If that were the case, then why is there so much blood?
Apollo pondered that thought. He was just about to suggest something else, but then he noticed something. Or rather, felt something. His right hand, which was still on Max's arm. His thumb had absent-mindedly brushed Max's skin a little, and what he felt caught his attention.
That's odd, Apollo said. What is it? Asked Clavier. His skin. It feels strange.
What do you mean?
It's too smooth.
Smooth?
I don't know, it just felt strange to me.
Clavier put his hand to his chin, but while doing so, he absent-mindedly put his other hand right in the puddle of blood.
Oh, God!
He exclaimed and yanked his hand out of the blood. But his shock then turned to confusion. He took his thumb and index finger and pressed them together over and over again, trying to examine the crimson substance on them.
What are you doing?
Asked Apollo.
This isn't blood,
Clavier said plainly.
What?
It's too thick.
What? What could be thicker than blood?
I don't know.
But whatever this is, it isn't blood. Strange.
Just then, the monitor on the wall erupted into static. Apollo and Clavier turned to look at it, and Monokuma's face appeared again.
Oh, I forgot to tell you all the details about the trial,
he chirped.
You see, there's a right answer and a wrong answer. The answers being the suspects, i.e. you all. Choose the wrong person, and everyone but the real murderer will be executed. Choose the right person, and that person will be executed. Of course, you can plead your case and even present the evidence you find, but it's all a matter of whether or not it's correct. So think and choose carefully, because in the end, your choices will decide everything. Well, ta-ta!
And with that, the screen went blank again.
Well, that isn't good, Clavier said. Seems like our Psycho Bear wants us to go all in. Forehead?
Apollo just stared at the black screen of the TV, trying to comprehend what he just heard.
Execution?
He said weakly. But that weakness all went away in one single instant when he screamed,
"He's going to execute us!"
He then went into a frenzy, repeating phrases like,
"Oh my God,"
and
"We're all gonna die!"
He paced around in the circle on the stage with his fingers digging into his scalp.
"Forehead, calm down."
Clavier tried to reassure him, but he just looked at him with fear and anger, and Clavier noticed tears in his eyes.
"Calm down? Calm down?"
Apollo cried.
"How can I possibly be calm when our very own lives are being played with like dolls? That freaking Psycho Panda is gonna kill us, and he's acting like this is all some kind of game to him. If we don't get enough evidence or be able to prove our case at the trial, we're all dead. And it doesn't matter if we choose right or wrong, somebody's gonna die anyway. It doesn't matter if we win or lose, not all of us are gonna walk out of here alive. And it's not helping that you're staying calm throughout all of this. It's like you're not even scared of dying. We could all be dead in just 2 hours, and that doesn't scare you? You think it doesn't?"
Clavier shouted, finally losing his patience. Apollo went silent.
"Of course it scares me. I'm scared out of my mind,"
Clavier said in a much lower voice.
"I know what the stakes are for this game of his, and it terrifies me to know that no matter what, at least one of us is going to end up dead. And I pray to God that it's not going to be you or Trucy. I'm scared, it's true, but someone has to be the voice of reason around here and try to make sure that no one freaks out like you are and drags us all to our deaths faster. But it's all I can do to try and stay calm. I don't want to die, but if it comes down to it, I will gladly sacrifice myself if it means that you and the girls get out of here.
Clavier,
Apollo said weakly. He wiped the tears from his eyes.
You're right. Now's not the time to panic. Panic only makes everything worse. We will all get out of here, no matter what. That's the air, forehead, I know.
There was a moment's pause.
So, what now?
Asked Apollo.
Well, I guess for now we should try and find out what this mystery substance is, said Clavier. He took a handkerchief from his jeans pocket and wiped his hand clean. Just then, Apollo had a revelation. Psycho Panda. Yeah, I guess. Oh! While I was looking for the way here on the map on the second floor, I saw something that looked like a chemistry lab. And if I remember correctly, it's on this floor, Apollo said. Perfect! We can analyze it there, Clavier exclaimed. All right, let's go! Clavier took the handkerchief and wiped it into the strange fluid, trying to get more of it. Then they got off the stage and started making their way towards the door. But just then, a thought crossed Apollo's mind. I wonder how the girls are holding up, he asked. The three girls stared back at the black monitor mounted on the wall in the hallway, letting what Monokuma just said sink in.
So that's it then, Trucy said. No matter what, at least one of us is going to die.
I'm freaking out!
Screamed Pepper. No, Pepper, remember what Mr. Gavin said. Panicking will get us nowhere.
Trucy tried to reassure her.
Yeah, you're right.
She seemed to calm down.
Now, let's find that surveillance room.
They walked around and found a school map pinned to a corkboard.
Any surveillance rooms on there? Asked Allison. Well, there is this one room, but it says Data Lab, said Pepper. It has an icon that shows a bunch of computer monitors, so maybe it's the same thing. And it looks like it's on this floor. Lucky for us, Trucy remarked. All right, let's head on over there, said Allison,
and they made their way toward the Data Lab. Oh, geez, Psycho Panda. I don't know. I didn't realize how funny that was until Terza Rose just pointed it out. Oh, geez. I'm gonna try not to laugh just so I can finish this story. But now I'm worried because there's another part of the story that is pretty funny, I guess. I was laughing as I was reading it over before. Oh God, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that part in a straight face. So, we'll just see.
They opened the door, and in front of them was a huge display of monitors, each showing different camera feeds throughout the school. All right, all we have to do is find the feed that's for the auditorium and play it back, said Allison. She and Pepper rushed towards the monitors while Trucy took her time walking into the room. It was unsettling for her. Even though she had told Pepper not to panic, she was trying her hardest to keep herself together. She didn't want anyone to die, and she didn't want to die herself. It was all a horrible, awful nightmare that had become a reality. She tried to take her mind off things and looked at the monitors, but her gaze landed upon a door that was nestled between the monitors. It had Monokuma's face plastered all over it. Even in the dim lights of the monitors, she could make out his bone-chilling smile. She turned her head down so as not to look at it, but out of the corner of her eye, she caught something. She turned her head to get a better look at it, and found out that it was a cardboard box lying under a table. She knelt down, took the box out, and opened the flaps. Inside was a stack of papers. Large papers. She squinted her eyes to see what was written on them, and when she realized, she gasped. "What's wrong, Trucy?" Pepper asked, hearing her gasp. "Oh, it's nothing," Trucy said quickly, closing the box and putting it back where she found it. "I just saw a spider. I'm afraid of spiders." "Oh, okay," said Allison.
Well, on the bright side, we got the footage. Great! Can I see it? Trucy asked as she made her way over. But right before she could get a look at the screen, it erupted into static. Oops, said Pepper. I pressed something. I think I just deleted it or something. What? No! Trucy exclaimed. That footage was what was going to save us! Well, I can tell you what I saw when we played it back, said Allison. Yes! Tell me! It was that blonde-haired man. He killed him. Mr. Gavin? Trucy's knees began to feel weak. Yeah, him, said Allison. I'm sorry. I could see that the two of you were friends. But that can't be. Trucy knew it was a lie. It had to be. Well, we got what we needed, said Pepper. Think we could check out the rest of the school? Trucy nodded solemnly. Great! Then let's go. They started to leave the room, but Trucy stayed behind. Once Allison and Pepper were gone, she went back over to the cardboard box and took out the paper she saw. Under that paper, she saw another one, and another one under that. She took 3 papers, folded them up, and put them under her hat, and went to join the other 2 girls. Once Apollo and Clavier opened the doors to the chemistry lab, they were assaulted with a familiar smell of chemicals. All right, I'll go look for a centrifuge, Clavier said, and he went to search the cabinets. Apollo looked around the room. There were shelves with all kinds of chemicals on them. All the shelves were labeled, from A to C. The C section had all kinds of chemicals, but judging from the skull and crossbones on the labels, he didn't want to find out what they were. All right, got it. Clavier walked to a table and put the device on it. Apollo walked over and saw that Clavier had taken out the handkerchief covered in the unknown fluid and put it into one of the vials. He put the vial into the centrifuge and it started it up. It's going to take a while, said Clavier. Why don't we go and stretch our legs? Apollo nodded and they left the chem lab. As they were walking, Apollo started to think. Hey, what if we don't get out of here? He asked. Don't think like that, Clavier said. You can't think like that. Easier said than done, Apollo said. I mean, we can't not suspect each other. It had to be one of us. And because there is time that isn't accounted for, we don't have solid alibis. True. But I know for a fact that you didn't do it. Because you're too kind-hearted to do anything like that. And your little freak-out earlier also says that you're innocent. Someone who's guilty wouldn't have reacted like that, now would they? You don't know that. None of us are safe from suspicion. Not even you. I'm not saying you did it. Just that there is reason for doubt. I know. But like I said, I will sacrifice myself if it comes to that. You and Trucy have nothing to worry about.
Wow, is it getting emotional in here, or is it just me?
A familiar high-pitched voice came from behind the 2 of them, causing them to jump. Monokuma was standing behind them.
Might want to give you 2 some space, before things get really interesting.
What the hell are you talking about? Apollo retorted.
Oh, come on, you're a grown man. You should know exactly what I'm talking about,
Monokuma said. He then winked. What are you doing here? Clavier exclaimed.
Just checking in. I want to make sure that every participant is doing just fine,
Monokuma said.
Now with that being said, are you hungry?
What's it to you? Apollo asked sternly.
Just answer the question.
All right, fine. I guess.
Great, because I prepared a meal for all of you once the investigation is over. Don't want you to go to trial on an empty stomach now, do we? Anyway, good luck with the rest of your search.
And just like that, he was gone. What was that all about? Asked Apollo. I have no idea, said Clavier. Anyway, shall we go check on the fluid? Apollo nodded and they went back to the chem lab. Once they got there, they found that the centrifuge had completed its task. Looks like it's done, Clavier said. They looked at They looked at the screen on the centrifuge and saw the contents of the liquid and gasped. What? That can't be! Apollo exclaimed. I knew it, Clavier said. It really wasn't blood. What does this mean? Apollo asked. Just before Clavier could answer, they heard the sound of a bell and the monitor on the room turned on, showing the static image of Monokuma holding a wine glass.
All right, investigation time is over, he said. Now, everyone head to the dining hall for a well-deserved lunch. After that, it's time for the trial.
The monitor then shut off.
Already? Asked Apollo. But we have more questions than answers. Let's just hope the girls found something as well.
Clavier took the vial of fluid that was in the centrifuge, and he and Apollo walked out of the room and headed for the dining hall. They were about to get to the flight of stairs leading down to the 3rd floor when they heard someone call out to them.
Guys!
It was Trucy. She and the other girls ran up to them.
Trucy! Girls! I'm so glad you're here! Apollo exclaimed.
Did you find the surveillance room? Clavier asked.
Yeah, but we accidentally erased the footage of what happened in the auditorium, said Pepper.
What? Clavier and Apollo exclaimed together.
It was an accident, Pepper continued. I didn't know how everything worked. I just pressed a random button and...
It's all right, Allison reassured her. We got to see what was on it anyway.
I didn't,
Trucy said meekly.
Okay, so what was on it?
Asked Clavier. Allison just looked at him sternly. All right, let's go eat, she said plainly, and she and Pepper made their way down the stairs. Apollo was about to go down after them, but Trucy grabbed his arm, stopping him.
What? He asked.
I found something in the surveillance room, she said. Is there a classroom or something nearby?
Yeah, over here, I think,
Clavier said, pointing and starting to walk. Apollo and Trucy followed after him and got to an empty classroom.
This is the room I woke up in, Clavier said.
Trucy wasted no time and stood behind the teacher's desk at the front of the classroom. Apollo and Clavier went to join her.
What is it you wanted to show us?
Asked Apollo.
You guys aren't going to believe this, but I think I found something that will change everything about this little murder mystery.
She then took the papers out from under her hat and spread them out on the desk. Once Apollo and Clavier realized what they were looking at, they gasped.
What? Impossible!
Apollo exclaimed.
This explains everything,
Clavier remarked.
What do you mean?
Asked Trucy.
What I mean is...
He flashed her and Apollo a coy grin.
I think we just found our ticket to winning the trial.
And in that moment, Apollo understood too. They did have everything. All the pieces fit together. And now, they finally had the upper hand. The three of them walked into the dining hall where Pepper and Allison were waiting for them.
There you are, Pepper exclaimed. What took you so long?
We got lost, Apollo said. This school is pretty big after all.
Yeah, I guess, Allison agreed. Come on, let's eat. They all sat down and began to eat the meals that had been laid out on the table. As they were eating, Apollo and Clavier and Trucy looked at each other, and they knew what each of them were thinking. After some more discussion about what they had found, and another look at the papers Trucy had discovered, they all came to one undeniable conclusion. And that conclusion was what was going to be their ticket to freedom from this demented school. At this point, the death game really was just a game, and they were the aces, and all they had to do was play. Oh, hello, weird other language text I can't read. You're pretty late. I'm already on the final chapter of the fanfic. Chapter 3. Hope and Despair.
All right, everybody. Lunchtime is over. The trial is about to begin. Please make your way to the red door on the first floor. And no dilly-dallying, because I'm sure you know what would happen if you do. See you later!
Everyone stood at the red padded doors on the first floor that Monokuma had told them to go to. They emitted an ominous aura.
Well, let's not just stand here waiting,
said Clavier, and he went to open the doors. Inside was a room, and on the other side of the room was what looked to be an old-fashioned elevator.
Is this where we're having the trial?
Asked Trucy.
Nope, that's what the elevator is for.
Everyone jumped and saw Monokuma standing behind them.
What is it now?
Asked Apollo, exasperated.
What? I'm just saying that in order to get to the courtroom, you have to take the elevator.
MLP Orly. Oh, is that your name? MLP Orly? Orly? MLP Orly? I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Alright, seems fair enough, Clavier said.
Okay, see you down there! And just like before, Monokuma disappeared. One by one, they all stepped into the elevator, and after a few seconds, the gates closed and it started going down. Everyone was silent as the elevator went on its descent. After what seemed like an eternity, it finally stopped, and the gates opened. As they all stepped out, they found themselves in a circular room, where there were several pedestals set up in a circle in the middle of the room, along with a giant throne-like chair, which Monokuma was sitting in. Ah, welcome! He exclaimed. What do you think, huh? Kinda looks like a real courtroom, doesn't it? What do you think, Apollo?
It's alright, I guess, he said.
Just alright, Monokuma exclaimed. Do you know how expensive it was to construct this one single room? You know what? It doesn't matter. Just find your assigned seats and let's get this trial started.
Not wanting to know what would happen if they didn't listen to him, everyone found their assigned pedestals. There were too many pedestals for all of them. Apollo counted each of them, including his own, and came to 16. But standing behind one of the pedestals was something that made his blood run cold. Kinda. She can maybe read like me. Oh, hello, Leafy Chew. Don't think I've ever seen you around. Are you new? Well, welcome. Yeah, I do read pretty good. And I read pretty, neatly too, but even I have the occasional slip-ups. I mean, I had some occasional slip-ups just reading this. What's with that? He pointed to the pedestal. Standing behind it was a picture stand, like the one you would see at a funeral, depicting Max's eternally youthful face. There was a red X smeared over it.
Oh, that, Monokuma said. Everyone is part of the trial. It doesn't matter if they're dead. Everyone needs to participate.
That's messed up,
Pepper said. Hey, don't look at me, Monokuma exclaimed. I don't make the rules. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. But anyway, let's go over the rules of this trial. So your votes determine the results. If you choose the right person, that person will be executed. But if you choose anyone besides the blackened, you all get executed and the real murderer will get to go free.
And the blackened being the one who killed Max? Asked Clavier.
Oh yeah, Monokuma said. I'm just so used to the class trials I did with the people before you when they went here. It just slipped out.
Class trials? Wait, so you've done this to other people before? Apollo asked.
Hey, now's not the time to be thinking about previous trials, Monokuma said sternly. It's all about the here and now, so why don't we begin?
Apollo nodded. And so, the curtain opened for its big show. A deadly secret, a deadly nightmare, a deadly scheme, a deadly betrayal, a deadly omen, a deadly despair, a deadly trial. The stage was set, and Apollo just had to play his lines at just the right moment. Same went for Clavier and Trucy. They had the case-breaking evidence. All they needed was to present it at the right time.
All right, let's get the ball rolling, Monokuma started. How do you think that Max died?
Well, according to what me and Air 4 had discovered, Clavier began, it was due to a stab to the abdomen. Okay, and what do you think caused it? Asked Allison. I bet it was a knife, Pepper exclaimed. That's obvious, isn't it? I don't know, Clavier said. After all, we didn't find one near Max's body. Maybe the killer took it with him, Allison piped up. He could still have it on him right now. Hold on. How do you know it's a he? Apollo asked. Because I saw it, Allison said. I saw it on the video feed before it got deleted. It was you, Mr. Gavin! You killed him! She pointed a finger at Clavier and he was taken aback.
come now, he stammered. Why would I have any desire to kill a child?
I don't know, but I clearly saw it, Allison retorted. On the monitor, you took a knife and stabbed him.
Apollo whipped his head around to look at Clavier, whose eyes were full of confusion and fear. But we already established that there wasn't a knife, Clavier said, trying to stay calm.
Yeah, but because you walked off with the knife afterwards, Allison said. In fact, I bet you still have it on you right now.
I can assure you that I don't, Clavier said matter-of-factly.
Oh, really? You said it yourself 2 hours ago. Talking about it doesn't prove anything.
But this does. He turned his pockets inside out to show that they were empty. See? Nothing.
Okay. Maybe it's in his boots,
she stammered. Clavier took off his boots and turned them upside down, and they too were empty.
Maybe it's in your pants?
Allison asked. Now why would I do that? Clavier asked, getting a little irritated.
I don't know, because it's the last place that anyone would look,
Allison yelled. Sounds fell over the courtroom.
What? Too shy?
Allison said mockingly.
I guess that's understandable. That just proves that you're the guilty party.
That's not why, Clavier retorted. This conversation went from accusatory to downright idiotic, Apollo thought. Okay, well, were you the only one who saw the footage? Asked Clavier.
No, Pepper was there with me too,
Allison said confidently.
It's true, Pepper agreed. I saw the same thing she did.
What about you, Trucy? Clavier asked.
No, I didn't see it, Trucy said, ashamed. It got deleted before I got to see it.
I see, Clavier pondered. Have you ever stopped to wonder that maybe it got deleted on purpose?
What? Allison exclaimed. Why would we want to delete something like that on purpose?
Precisely so that Trucy couldn't see what was really on it, Clavier stated. Because it was after you called her over that Pepper erased the footage, no?
Well, that doesn't matter. The fact is that it was deleted, and me and Pepper were the only ones to see it,
Allison said, getting a little defensive. That just means the two of you could be lying about what you saw, Apollo stated. If Trucy had seen that footage, I bet she would have had an entirely different story to tell.
All right, that's enough, Monokuma exclaimed. There's no way to know for certain that Pepper erased the footage on purpose. And if she claims that it was an accident, then it was a goddamn accident. That's okay, right? To cause accidents from time to time? That's what makes us all human. Besides me, because I'm a bear.
Human. That statement stood out to Apollo because he knew. He knew what was really going on, and what Monokuma said just proved it. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He looked at Trucy, then to Clavier. They nodded. It was time. All the cards had been laid out, and now it was time. Apollo drew his ace. Objection! He shouted, taking the whole courtroom by surprise.
Oh, what have we here? Monokuma asked. Bringing a bit of the real courtroom in here now, are we?
Sorry, Monokuma, Apollo said, but how can a human make a mistake if they were never designed to do so?
Designed? What are you talking about? Monokuma asked.
I'm talking about how Pepper is not human, Apollo exclaimed. And it's not just her, it's Allison, and even Max too.
That's ridiculous,
Allison cried.
How dare you accuse me of not being human?
But it's true, Apollo stated. You see, while investigating Max's body, I made an interesting discovery. Max's skin was too smooth, because it wasn't skin at all. It was a layer of silicone rubber! Monokuma, Pepper, and Allison were taken aback.
What?
Monokuma yelled.
Ridiculous! Absolutely ridiculous!
Cried Allison.
You can't say that for a fact,
Pepper retorted.
He probably used a body lotion or something.
Still not convinced? Apollo asked. Well, how about this? Clavier? All eyes turned to Clavier. We ran a test on Max's blood in the chemistry lab on the 4th floor, he stated. and we found out that it wasn't blood at all. It was hydraulic fluid.
The whole room seemed to shake with that statement.
What? Impossible!
Monokuma stammered.
How do you
Know all of this? Clavier asked.
Well, there's one little Fraulein in this room that can tell you. Trucy!
Alakazam!
And with one swift motion of her hands, the papers that she had found in the data lab appeared out of thin air and into her hands, unfolded for everyone to see.
These are blueprints, she stated. And not just any blueprints. The blueprints for Max, Pepper, and Allison.
Monokuma cried out, as if he were in pain.
You see, they're all dolls, made to act, think, and talk like humans,
Apollo stated.
They're made very well, too. If it weren't for seeing these blueprints, I would have actually thought that they were real humans.
What are you trying to get at with all of this?
Allison hissed.
You revealed our secret. There has to be a reason for that, right?
There is,
Apollo said. He turned to Clavier.
You see, the reason me, Air Forehead, and Trucy were called here was for this little death game,
Clavier stated.
The rules were that if we found the murderer, we would win the game and would get to leave with our lives. But that was all an elaborate ruse. You see, there was no murderer. This whole charade was planned from the start. Meaning Max's death was planned, Pepper erasing the footage was planned, and ultimately losing the trial was all planned,
Apollo stated.
It was so that us, the best of the best at what we do, would be killed. It was all an elaborate execution. A game. But you see, Monokuma, we found your little trick. We won the game. There's nothing left for you. So just give up and admit defeat.
And that's all I wrote. Yeah. I'm ashamed that I had to stop it at such a climactic point because I didn't know how to continue the story from there, because it was all a matter of what the ending of Danganronpa 1 entailed. And it turns out that the world had pretty much got destroyed, and there isn't really anyone left alive in the world. At least, not that I know of. I'm just taking from what I saw on the wiki and what I saw in the gameplay of the person I was watching playing Danganronpa 1. So yeah. I mean, I didn't want any living person to die, so the only plausible thing that I came up with was that they would all be dolls. Pepper, Allison, and Max. They would all be dolls designed by Monokuma, or the Ultimate Despair, and it would be a ruse to try and get Apollo, Clavier, and Trucy killed, because they were the best at what they did, and ultimately they spreaded hope throughout, well, everywhere. And if you hadn't seen Danganronpa 1, or the Danganronpa series in general, you'd know that the Ultimate Despair, a pair of two girls, were hellbent on bringing the world to despair, which is kind of what they did since the world got destroyed. And their ultimate goal was to snuff out every last bit of hope in the world. And by killing Apollo, Clavier, and Trucy, that would ultimately lead a bunch of people to despair, such as Phoenix, since he is Trucy's legal father in Apollo Justice, and onward. And it would ultimately cast a bunch of other people into despair, like family members, fans, friends. It would send all of those people into despair, and that's what those two girls were going for. So yeah. And because in Danganronpa the world got destroyed, well, pretty much it's like a wasteland at this point, I wasn't able to put that into the Ace Attorney universe because, I mean, I just don't know how that would work. Like, I mean, in a ruined world, there would be no reason for a legal system anymore, would there? You know? Also, I mean, I tried to take aspects from Danganronpa 1, like, with the whole fact of Monokuma just popping up out of nowhere and surprising everybody, especially that little tidbit I did with Clavier and Apollo, saying that things were getting interesting. Obviously, this is a little poke at the ship between the two of them. I don't know if anyone does ship them, but I'm pretty sure they do, because Rightworth is a thing. And I'm just gonna say this right now, I don't ship Apollo and Clavier, nor do I ship Edgeworth and Phoenix. It's just illogical. It's just weird. Anyway, yes. So, yeah, that was all I wrote for the story. I mean, it really does suck that I have to stop it. And when it was coming along so good, too. In retrospect, I should have waited until I was finished watching Danganronpa 1. Because maybe if I had, I wouldn't have wasted all this time making a fanfic that ultimately will never be finished. I mean, I also wanted to share this with you guys, like as a real fanfic reading that you would find on the internet or YouTube somewhere. And I would also, like, be making pictures to go along with the story, and, like, people from my DeviantArt and other people on the channel, they would also make pictures and I would put them in the story and I would credit them and stuff. It's just, now that's not gonna happen. I mean, and I also even picked out music for it. The music you heard me playing while I was reading it. It's just, I mean, it's really disappointing. And I'm more disappointed in myself for not being more patient about this. Because, I mean, I'm one that doesn't really like to waste time. So, just seeing that I wrote an unfinished Danganronpa Ace Attorney fanfic that won't ever be finished because canonically it won't be possible. It's just really disappointing. But, I mean, it's not all that bad. I mean, I guess it gave me something to do while I'm being locked up in my house because of the COVID-19 thing. So, I guess not all is lost. Oh, bye, Leafy Chew. Anyway, I hope you all liked it. I mean, I really enjoyed writing it up until the end. I mean, I still want to do this whole thing where I write a story and you guys make pictures to go along with the story, and I make pictures to go along with the story, and it'll be like a whole fanfic reading thing, collab thing that everyone can participate in. I mean, I do have an idea for another Ace Attorney fanfic in mind, but instead of being Apollo Justice, it's gonna be, investigations with Miles Edgeworth. I have something in mind, but I don't really have enough to make it into a story. I don't know if you're gonna maybe see something like that in the future, but just be on the lookout for it. Can't guarantee that I'm actually gonna write it, but we'll just see. Also, anyway, in case you haven't noticed, I included some of my subscribers in the story. Those being Max Miller, Pepper52, and A. Quinn. They're very loyal subscribers, and they've commented on a variety of my videos. And it just makes me so happy to see them really liking the stuff I do, so I thought maybe I could repay them by including them in something I make. Maybe an MLP or Skylanders one could be possible. Don't really have any ideas for a My Little Pony or Skylanders fanfic. I mean, aren't all the things I do for the friendship I use pretty much considered a fanfic? Because, like, with all the stories I write to go along with the pictures. Anyway, yeah. So, I mean, I'm really glad you liked this story. I'm really disappointed that I'm not gonna finish it. And I'm hopeful that at some point I will write an Ace Attorney Investigations fanfic. And maybe you'll see that. But it's still up for debate whether I'm gonna do it or not. Anyway, I think it's about time that I end the stream. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And I will see you all later. Oh, one more thing. New video Sunday. So look out for that. Bye.